Hello, I'm Reverend Barbara F. Myers. I'm the board president of the UU Mental Health Network, and I am here with another member of our board, Sonia Mudrick, to talk about what the UU Mental Health Network is doing and how you can get involved. First, we'll give an introduction and then we'll share the vision that we have for the network. I'll talk about some focus areas that we have, and then we'll talk about how you can get involved. The UU Mental Health Network is about 3 years old. We have a board of 7 people, 4 of whom are officers that you can see there, and then 3 at-large members of the board. And Sonia is one of the at-large members of the board.
So our vision is that we want people with mental health problems to feel included, safe, respected, and beloved. We want for congregations and their ministers to talk about mental health and mental health problems. We strive to demarginalize and destigmatize mental health conditions, and part of it is to talk about it more often and more freely. We want to educate people with and without mental health issues what it is like to live with and around mental health problems. We want to share resources regarding treatment options and lifestyle changes that are conducive to improving mental health. We want to provide information on what is available and what may be coming. One of our goals is to further evaluate within the UUA what people need and want in terms of support, help, representation, and inclusion. We want to provide online discussion platforms for people living with mental health problems and their families, starting within congregations, but possibly also doing it region wide. We want to focus not only on problems of living with mental health issues, but we also want to have a place to share success stories and illustrate that you can live a meaningful and fulfilled life despite mental health problems. Thank you, Barbara.
Thank you, Sonia. We have 4 focus areas where we have decided to put our efforts. They are education, worship, support groups, and social justice. So I'll talk about each of these areas. In terms of education, there's a book called Held, Showing Up for Each Other's Mental Health, that I wrote. It was published by Skinner House Books, UU publisher, in 2020. And uh, it has chapter questions after each chapter so that it can be used in book reads, and it has been used by a number of congregations as a book read. A number of the quotes in there are now in the UU Worship Web, and also quotes from other books having to do with mental health are in the Worship Web now so they can be used in services throughout the denomination. And we've held workshops focused on the content of the book in various different congregations around the country, even some that are non-UU. What we want to do is to have more books, more educational materials. There's one proposal that is being worked on right now for a mental health justice book. There's a book on emotional CPR, which I am one of the editors of. That's about ready to be published. Emotional CPR is a program from the National Empowerment Center in the Boston area, and it focused on showing people how to be with someone who's in a mental health crisis and be helpful to them. And of course, we want to see other kinds of books as well. In terms of education for congregations, we want to first find out what the congregations need, and then perhaps provide things such as webinars or a venue for sharing stories or more things that might be helpful to congregations in their education about mental health. And we want to provide resources for congregations beyond what we ourselves have done. In terms of worship, um, we've done, I know I personally have done, and I know other people on our board and our former board members have done worship services in congregations focused on mental health. Many ministers, many UU ministers have written a sermon about mental health, and there is a library of those sermons that we have. What we want to do is we want to have a speakers bureau with people who can speak when there's a request for a speaker on mental health issue. We want to have guides for giving worship in a congregation that focus on a subject of mental health, and we want to have um, periodic online services that we ourselves put on and focusing on mental health themes. In terms of support groups, we see ourselves focusing on marginalized populations, LGBTQ populations, BIPOC populations, or other populations, having an online group where they can share what they go through in terms of mental health problems. We want to enhance our advice on how to run a local support group. So if you have a support group you want to run, uh, we want to give you advice about how to do that. We want to support emotional CPR trainings to help people in crisis, and we want referral resources for congregations. We're just beginning to do social justice work. There's a picture of me there with Jacqueline Duhart at a demonstration in our local area where we were protesting the death of prisoners with mental health issues in their jail. And 40 to 50% of the prisoners have mental health issues. Um, in addition, we have begun a dialogue with the Side with Love to see if there's any synergy between what they're doing in terms of decarceration and what the kinds of work that we'd like to get involved in. We want to do more things, of course, more work on decarceration, a way to protest the harmful use of solitary confinement, which causes mental health problems. Many times people with mental health issues are put in um, solitary confinement, and that makes things worse for them. Um, we will be doing some joint work with a Facebook group called Mental Health Justice UU, and that's just the preliminary understandings with that are just being worked out right now. And of course, we want to do more things. So we have a board of 7 people. We can't possibly, by just 7 people, do all those things by ourselves. We need committed and um, people that are motivated to do this kind of work to help us. So you can join. You can do this by joining the UU Mental Health Network at uumentalhealth.org/join. There's a dialogue where you can tell us what you're interested in. You can help us determine what our priorities are. And you can, if you find one of these teams that we're working on, you can join a team and help make all of this happen. Thank you for being with us. And I'm Barbara Myers and Sonia Mudrick. And
Thank you.
our email is info@uumentalhealth.org and our website is uumentalhealth.org. So thank you very much.